What's up guys, it's Jughead here. Welcome back to our Let's Watch Hunter x Hunter 1999 series. Today we are watching both episodes 10 and 11. I'm excited to see the comparisons and the contrasts between the 2011 series, which I'm way more ahead of, and this. That is the entire essence of this Let's Watch series here. So without any further ado, let's watch together. So, in 3, 2, 1, let's watch. And remember, like always, this is just supposed to be an appreciation, comparing and contrasting both series because I already know what happens in the plot. I'm way more ahead in the 2011 series. I just want to compare and contrast. I want to watch both. I'm always going to preface that as we start each new episode. I'm excited to see how Netro looks in this adaptation, because Netro will be showing up to put Menchi in her place and tell her, hey, figure something else out, because this ain't working. And then we'll see how the boiled egg catching, collecting part is going to work out. And then we'll get onto the blimp. And we'll see how that works out. The whole game with Netro and Killua killing that person. They're about to gang up on her. Who the hell is this? Oh. Toto? Toto, right? I remember him from the 2011 version. Blacklist Hunter. Must be strong if he was able to fuck up that table without Nen. Uh-oh. Shouldn't have said that. A mere gourmet hunter. I want to see Menchi fuck some men up. Yep, Toto. My memory is like a steel trap. Or I want to see Buhara fuck someone up. Because we do not see this, any of this, in the 2011 version. Oh, she's got her knives ready. We love a dangerous woman like that. And I love how they're chef knives. The knife she keeps behind her. What's she gonna do? That was cool. And hot. This is more... Again, I've never read the manga, so I don't know what is filler and what is actually adapted from the manga, and then what the 2011 version passed up on for the sake of pacing. Because whatever Menchi's going out doing right now, we do not see in the 2011 version. Anytime I lean forward, it's me trying to fix my audio. I love this guy. I forget what his name is. He's like Peapod or something. I forget what his name is. Netro somewhat looks the same. We get so many more background scenes and stuff like this. In the 2011 version, I like that it's a complete surprise when the blimp shows up. That this is the Hunter Association's airship. Netro flew out here, the chairman, to sort this out, and it's a surprise. And you're just abruptly introduced to him versus like all this background exposition. So she's hunting something. Let's see what beast she's about to conk. Okay, that is a devil bear with fucking Hellboy horns. Though we don't actually get to watch it. Yeah, we didn't even get to see anything. No wonder this got cut. You know where we're looking. I don't think anybody cares what that is. Is that seaweed? What is that? Good job. You should get bonus points for that. They're not going to appreciate what you had to go through for that moss. Is that moss off the bear's fur or what? Gon will try it. Look at him in the background. Itadakimasu. No, it's delicious. Splendid even. Well, don't insult her. How'd you get moss off a bear? Is the moss on its fur? Oh, they're horn moss. Okay. Okay, we do get to see it. Wow. I understand why they cut this. Because we're still not to the egg part yet. 2 whole episodes on this one little phase 2 for these gourmet hunters. Now it'd be cool if Gon went out and tried to do it himself. Just tamed the animal. Somebody fight, please. I want Menshi to kick some ass, or I want Hubara to kick some ass. She might need backup, Hubara. Step in. That's one burly broad himself. Damn! Okay, he's pretty strong. Enhancer. If he doesn't die. A lot of people, if I remember, quite a few people die in the egg. In the Split Mountain. I think that's what it's called. Egg gathering thing. I forget how far we saw Toto. In the 2011 version. Yeah, Satots, please step in already. Let's get the ball rolling here. There's the airship, finally. But we already know what Netro looks like. I like the fact that, like, we got to be in the shoes of the contestants of witnessing Netro for the first time. The same reaction, the same facial expressions. We already know him here. This girl's from Yap Island. She's gonna be like, oh my god, that's Netro's voice. Look what you did. You brought the chairman out here. sick. That is an entrance. I'm trying to remember what his outfit looked like in the 2011 version. What is it? Wasn't it just white and blue? And more like an actual, like, garment robe, like professional, formal looking. Where this looks much more, you know, like training uniform, like casual clothing. But didn't switch up his character design too much across adaptations, unlike, you know, like a Hisoka or somebody. He left a crater. His design really did not change much. I dig that. Yeah, now she's intimidated. Yeah, even he's kind of like, this is kind of some bullshit. That's what he's saying, in the nicest way possible. You got the bad attitude. Like, just like, sumimasen, let me, I'll never be a hunter proctor again. I'll give in my hunter card. I'm not worthy. Yeah. Oh, sumimasen. Yes. Can we finally get to the boiled egg part of the face and just leave this storyline, please? Can we please get onto the airship and head over to the prison tower? I loved that portion of the hunter exam. Even in the 2011 version, I was pretty bored of this. On top of now we have so much talking and exposition and nothing going on. Let's boil an egg. Yep. They're going to be so relieved until they find out, oh, never did I imagine I'd be risking my life for an egg. He's dying. Yep, Split Mountain, I think is what it's called. Can't remember fully. What differences are there going to be here? Oh, so you won't die. That's different. Spider. Yep, Split Mountain. Okay, again, my memory. But I don't remember in the 2011 version that there's a river. I thought you died if you failed this. Like you fell to your death. That's also different. She had to climb up herself. Versus in the 2011 version, they have to time their leap or their drop when they let go. They have to time it perfectly because of there's a huge updraft that shoots them back up. That must be not in the manga, because they wouldn't have not made that the case here. In the 2011 version, they added more stakes and strategy by having the updraft. This fat fuck's gonna die. Oh, well, again, he's not gonna die, he's gonna lose, though. The spider eagles. Don't let go. There you go. Bye-bye. Why would you save him? He was nothing but a dick to you. That does not feel like Gon's personality at all. Interesting. I don't know how much of that feels like Gon's personality back in the Hunter exam. Now I can only think of how Gon is now, and I'm trying to think backwards if that aligns with how I felt Gon was in the 2011 version at this point in the series. That could have even happened in the 2011 series where he saved someone, but I just don't remember. I only remember the updraft, and because it was very quick. We do not hang on these unnecessary dialogue, like plot not moving anywhere scenes. I hate boiled eggs. Hate them. Disgusting. Ugh. I hate the smell. I hate the texture. I hate the taste. I could throw up. Could gag. Now they finally understand. It's worth your life to go after this. And he's gonna have an epiphany. You can always go back and get yourself some more eggs. He gonna switch professions? I don't want to be a blacklist hunter anymore. I want to be a gourmet hunter. Now let's move on. Let's move on. A whole episode just for this dumbass egg. Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't like sounding like a negative Nancy, but Jesus. I forget this guy's name. I forget his name. I still just call him Peapod. Because I forget his name. Now we will move on to the next episode. So in 3, 2, 1, let's watch again. Now this is what I'm interested in. This episode. Who the hell is this? Already different. I'm really looking forward to this because I hope this episode, if it doesn't take forever to go through one thing, that we see the game of ball that Netro, Gon, and Killua play together, and I want to see how they play out the Killua Gon dialogue scene where Killua tells Gon about his family, because Killua's personality and what he reveals about himself is very different in the two adaptations, and I want to see if Killua kills someone in this episode in this way, because he just straight up took his claws out and killed, no problem, in the 2011 version. Let's see if they do that here. They might not, because the standards and practices and attitudes at the time, I don't know if they would show. It was much more tame back then, and you could get away with less. So I don't know if they're gonna show the kid killing. But we'll see. Everybody breaks away, they explore the ship. Then that scene where Gon is looking out the window and they talk about Killua's family. It's nap time. Also nap time. The benefits of being a kid. And that 12-year-old energy. Tonpa! We don't see much of Tonpa. In the 2011 version, you see so much of Tonpa. He's like, not central, but a very common recurring character we interact with a lot. Or it's just because the pacing is so slow in this version that we have the whole sushi part, this part, the moss bear part, how long that egg episode took, that it feels so spread out versus the time in between we see our different characters. There's those assassin abilities coming out. This does not exist in the 2011 version. I don't know if it exists in the manga. That there's some mysterious character going after either Gon or Killua or both of them. Because in the 2011 version, Killua just kills two random contestants that say, hey, you bumped into me, apologize. And he's just like, fuck you, you're dead. He's ashamed. Just two curious cats. She likes Hanzo, right? At least I think in the 2011 version, she likes Hanzo. That she thinks he can win. I don't know the numbers. Who the hell is that? Oh yeah, Hanzo, yep. Killua. Smells. That assassin training that we see during the game with Netro. What is it called? Shadow Step or Shadow Rhythm or whatever it's called? Something. Bloodlust Aura. What are you talking about? He was sitting by the river the entire time. Because little do you know, he is a fake Phantom Troop member. But he is a killer. Kakedamashi. What does that mean? When a person dissatisfied with normal training challenges any and all who look strong to hone his skills. I do not remember them ever actually, like, bothering to explain this. I remember it was only ever Hisoka trying vaguely, you know, explaining his own philosophy. I don't remember them, like, bothering to give a title to it. You know? I remember in the 2011 version, it was more so just like nobody understands Hisoka except for the people that are able to get close enough to him that he explains why he is the way that he is. Not this rationalizing from others. Now let's pay attention. This is where Killua tells him about his family. Because remember I said in the swamp, he was saying a lot that he didn't say before, and he acted very different from the Killua I know from the 2011 version. So I'll see how he speaks in this. This is pretty in line. I remember the whole thing of Gon was the only one to ever take his answer seriously. To kill since I was a little kid. And he had to attack his own mother. Yeah, we wound up fighting. I nearly killed my mother and my brother and ran away. Yeah, I remember that. Complicated family dynamics. I don't remember that part. I remember him talking about the fact that he had to, like, he stabbed his mother and stuff. Who the hell is this? Those assassin ability, he can sense it. So he can tell it's a girl. Again, 2011 version got rid of this random girl subplot line because it's unnecessary. Because somehow this girl and whatever's happening is going to lead up to something that, like, would have happened anyway, and you can get rid of that part just to lead into that part and shave off a good 5-10 minutes of story. Someone has a grudge on Killua. He can smell it, kind of like how Gon can smell things, sense the hostility, almost like that's like his untapped nen. Or you can sense the hostility in somebody's nen if you don't conceal it well enough. But we know that don't exist yet. That's her. Look at the earring. She doesn't have an earring on her left ear. It's missing. So who the hell is this chick? Obviously, she ain't in the Hunter exam because we've never even seen this character as a background character before. She's new. So, I know storytelling. Yep, disqualified applicant. That was an interesting, like, behind the scenes of just, like, you see all the... You get disqualified, you just get bussed home. I never even thought about that. Probably because in the 2011 version, you don't really get you just fucking die. You got a disqualified applicant on board who has a grudge against Killua. Anita? Yeah, he's not playing around. This is business. Awkward. Avenge my father who was murdered. My father was a traitor who managed a spice mine. Well, he was obviously... Well, I don't want to say that. Who knows if he was good or bad. Blah, 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 blah. Did Killua's family murder your father? You could just skip all the... Just say that. Yep, the rival traitor hired an assassin in the ZOLDYCKS, and she wants to avenge her father's death. Too much background story. In the 2011 version, I like that it was just like, here's this very quick peek into Killua's background. We see the silhouette as he kills those people instantaneously, and you drop it at that. Not like really hyper focusing on this part of him. I like drips, not all this. See, because now Leorio and Korpika and everybody's hearing about Killua all at once, like they're learning he assassin, blah blah blah. Where it was like, it felt so intimate and like a real bond between Gon and Killua that only Gon knew this information. And so, like, even in that tower part where Killua rips that guy's heart out, they're like, what the? Who the hell is this kid? Blah blah blah. They have no idea anything about him. But in here, it's just out in the open. Oh yeah, I'm a kid of an assassin, and now it's like, no surprise anymore. So is anything gonna happen to her? Or are they just gonna be like, yeah, we're kicking you off the plane? And then it's like, what was the point in any of this being shown? Because I don't see how any of this leads into the game with Netro. And I don't see... Killua didn't kill her, so who the hell does he end up killing? If he actually kills in this adaptation, in this episode here. If you want to know someone, know what makes them angry. I think I remember that line, I'm not sure. I don't think any of this exists. I do not remember this at all. Is Netro just gonna randomly show up here? Because in the 2011 version, he's the one that spies on them and plays the game that he senses around the corner or like whatever. He's hiding behind one corner, quickly does that move so he's on the other side and tricks them. And then Killua sees it. He's like, oh, good, like compliments on his speed and stuff. And then they just go and play the game. They play the ball. If you can take the ball away from me, I'll give you a hunter's license. Yeah, there was no point in this part. Then we see is it shadow step or rhythm echo, or there's so many names to these techniques. And that's how Netro finds out it's like, and it's like not a frowned upon ability, but he's like, only assassins use this. He's a killer. But he keeps that to himself. There you go. If you win, I'll give you a hunter license. And since we know he's an enhancer, this boy's fast and he's strong. And I remember the animation in the 2011 version was so good. It was so much fun to watch. Let's see how it is here. And isn't that where he's impressed with how hard he could kick? I forget. Oh, yeah, never mind. He hurt himself, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that comment. This is where he uses whatever the technique is called, that I think it's rhythm echo. Because of the different frames of him. The echoes that he leaves behind. Now, how are you going to animate this? Because it was sick in the other one, how cool that was. So how the hell are you going to do it here? Little lackluster, but it is the 90s. The basics of the basics for an assassin. So he knows. Did Netro say that out loud or in his mind? I forget. Or I couldn't tell. Because I thought in the 2011 he only says it in his mind. Jesus Christ. Again. I have to spend another half episode just finishing the game. Let's talk about all the characters first. We are introduced to Netro for the first time today. The visual aesthetic is quite different. He has dark gray hair and beard instead of the pure white hair. In 1999, he looks heavily modeled after and influenced by Master Roshi from Dragon Ball. I think the white hair suits him more. The gray hair makes him just feel, frankly, middle-aged and also mortal in a way. While for me, the white makes him feel more powerful, like a Gandalf the White or a Dumbledore or a Yoda type powerful, mysterious, legendary figure. The white makes him appear older, yes, but also like a true master, like older in a way where you couldn't possibly begin to guess his age, especially him obviously being an enhancer. Who knows how old he is or how old he could be? Tie that to the wardrobe differences as well. I think the casual beige robes do not look nearly as good as the flowing white garments with the blue accent edges and the cuffs. In 2011, he appears much more, not imposing in a negative way, but imposing, intimidating, powerful. He looks formal. He looks like a leader, like an elder, like the chairman for the Hunter exam and Hunter Society. He looks important and he looks special. He stands out. Whereas 1999, he honestly kind of just looks like a guy off the street. I was also not the biggest fan of the fact there is an entire dedicated scene to him in his office where we are introduced to him. We see his entire face, an entire body. We hear his voice, all before he even appears at the Phase 2 location. It diminishes his grand entrance, kind of, when he jumps out of the airship a minute or two later. Because in 2011, and pretty much any show and any movie, I feel this way. I always really like it when the first time our main cast meets a new character is the first time we're also meeting that same character too. Feels much more immersive, like we're in the point of view of the characters. Like we're in the ensemble, we're in the story. We're not just an omniscient bird's eye view audience watching from afar who possesses all the information, all the knowledge, more so than our cast. And so then that means like we're having to wait for our characters to catch up to us who are ahead. In the 2011 version, you barely see him for not even 10 seconds in a little small cutaway scene. And 95% of his body's off screen anyways. All you see is like some of his arm with his white sleeve, some of his beard, and you hear a couple words out of him. You only hear him speak for a few seconds. So there's still mystery there. You're intrigued. And so when the airship shows up and he comes falling from the sky, leaping to the ground, leaving that giant crater in his wake, you and the characters are having the same reaction at the same time. When he appears out of that dust cloud, that's the first time we and the characters in the show are both together introduced to Netro. I like that more. Also, now 2 different scenes for Menchi were completely cut from the 2011 adaptation now. The sushi test from last episode, and this time her demonstration of what it means to be a gourmet hunter. Nab some rare moss from a bear in response to Toto shouting that gourmet hunters are not real hunters. When in the 2011 version, she's able to accomplish the same result and goal of proving her point to Toto by performing and demonstrating the spider egg retrieval and cooking. Phase 2 does not need to be this long. I agree with the cuts that were made. Menchi is not that important of a character to have her be the main the main person, the main character for 2 whole episodes in a row, 40 minutes. Get phase 2 over with, especially when you know Trick Tower is coming up next, which is the much, much, much more interesting and fun phase. Phase 2 is honestly and easily the worst phase of the exam. So going into the 2011 adaptation, they probably quickly decided, yeah, for the sake of pacing, let's just breeze through this, delete it. We're going to do the pig and the split mountain, and we're out of there. Good. And we don't even lose anything without those scenes. I also like the addition of the updraft at Split Mountain. It's not just, just climbing down, grabbing an egg, and climbing back up. In the 2011 version, I like that it showed multiple contestants falling to their demise because of their impatience, their inability to listen to directions, to follow orders, to not have a plan or be prepared. Because that is a core essential theme of Hunter x Hunter, that raw power and skill is not everything. It is strategy, and it is patience, and it is intelligence. Going into a situation with those things is why you come out alive at the end. And I also like that them falling to their demise, it is insinuated or suggested that they fall to their deaths. Because in the 1999, it is explicitly stated, oh, there's a river at the bottom, don't worry, they're not dead. I like that it's insinuated, the stakes are high, you fall to your death, this is what happens. It also showed more of Gon's intuition and oneness with nature, with the environment, with his surroundings, his advanced senses, and the fact all these other contestants, strangers, full-grown adults even, not just his 3 friends, Kurapika, Leorio, and Killua, everybody else surrounding, every other contestant, waited on bated breath and waited for his cue to let go of the webs. This kid, Gon, they relied on. And because of Gon, they all succeeded. And Toto didn't fail in retrieving an egg. He straight up didn't even have the courage to take that leap of faith and do it in the first place. I think that is a much better representation of what it means to be a hunter and showing off what a gourmet hunter is. Then instead, Toto in this version just taking Gon's egg out of his hands or snatching an egg and Gon taking it back without him realizing, and so that's why Toto fails. But he takes the bite of the egg at the end, and just that mere fact that it's so delicious is why he ends up respecting Menchie. I think it's much better storytelling wise that he didn't have the courage to even do what Menchie did without hesitation, what gourmet hunters do all the time to chase their passion, and that's where his respect comes from. That's just me. We also have multiple scenes during the, what I'd call just in between second and third stages of the exam on the airship. 1999, again, has an entire subplot, additional element that just simply does not exist in 2011 and does not need to exist. We have a filler character, Anita, who is unnecessary to the plot and also unnecessary to Killua's character development. I agree, it is good it was cut. It is also, I guaranteed, filler. This Anita girl exists for no reason. An applicant who failed the second phase and snuck onto the airship because she holds a grudge against the ZOLDYCKS family for killing her father. We do not need to learn about KILLUA'S family this much. We do not need to learn about his dad this much. We don't even need to know what their last name is. We don't need it hammered home this heavily and this much that his family are assassins. The personal private conversation between him and Gon, and only him and Gon, is enough. It's perfect. Why make a filler character who serves no purpose other than wasting time, heavy-handing, and reiterating over and over the fact Killua's family is assassins? Dude, we get it. And making that information public, pretty much to everybody on the airship. Why make it so multiple people learn this and know this about Killua, when it was perfect being a private, intimate thing between Gon and Killua? I do not like this filler character in this filler plot at all. I think it's dumb, even. It's frankly stupid. There is no justification to her existing. And I know for a fact this was the show writers doing. I also want to compare some of the dialogue from each adaptation. First is Sato's when talking about Hisoka in both versions on the airship. In 2011, he says, I have the quote here, "Though it pains me to admit this, we are birds of a feather with him. However, his affinity for darkness is far stronger. As hunters, we are continually seeking out rivals. Ultimately, the hunter exam is but a place to find opponents worthy of respect. And every once in a while, we encounter someone who hits the floor running when we try to slow things down. An oddball of sorts." End of quote. Nothing more. What lingers afterwards is the shot and images of Hisoka building a house of cards just to knock it down. As he closes his eyes, looks up at the ceiling, smiles, laughs, and moans. No other dialogue, just silence and ambient music, and that. It is so sinister and insidious and discomforting, just sitting there with Hisoka, observing him. It gives you the heebie-jeebies. In 1999, Sato says pretty much the same thing along the same lines in the beginning. You know, he's the same type of person as us, but he chooses to live in a place that's much darker than ours. We hunters are always looking for good rivals. Pretty much exactly the same thing. But then his dialogue includes this second part that I don't very much like. And it's, for him, the hunter exam is probably the place for kake damashi. It's a term in karate, a martial art from the Far East. It's the term used when a person dissatisfied with normal training challenges any and all who look strong to hone his skills. He is dangerous. He would step on the accelerator without hesitation when even we would step on the brake. He is a heretic among heretics. Kake damashi. What the hell are we talking about? I can just tell this is not Tagashi's writing. Just like I know Tagashi would not write this pointless Anita character, I for damn sure know Tagashi wouldn't write like this. Philosophizing Hisoka like this, let alone trying to rationalize him or rationalize with some real world application like a real world karate term. There's no way this dialogue is in the manga. I'm sorry. I don't like the idea of the show trying to logically explain Hisoka or explain Hisoka's philosophy and using other characters to do so and trying to legitimize it with esoteric martial arts terms when you know that is not Hisoka's personality. That is not his character. First of all, a core point of Hisoka is that he's enigmatic, he's unpredictable, he's chaotic, foreboding, irrational, not psychopathic, but certainly sociopathic. Dangerous, yes. A heretic, yes. And I know the word heretic is definitely a word directly lifted straight from the manga for sure. With the religious symbolism prevalent in Hunter x Hunter, I know Tagashi would use the word heretic to describe Hisoka. I don't believe the show writers or whoever wrote the show script would pull a word like that to describe Hisoka. I know that's from the manga for sure. But everything else in the second part with the karate crap, that's not Tagashi. You can just tell what writing is Tagashi and what writing is somebody else. And whoever that is bad. I also think the only character who should be talking about or explaining Hisoka's philosophy or code is Hisoka himself. The first time we ever learn about or hear of his philosophy, his code of honor, his mantra, whatever you want to call it, the first time we learn about it should be from his mouth himself, like in 2011. Not Sato's, not Netro, not anybody else. That's why I don't like this additional piece of dialogue from Sato's. It doesn't feel consistent with Sato's as a character, and certainly doesn't feel consistent with Hisoka as a character. It can really just take one sentence or two sentences to get an entire character incorrect. The first time we hear of Hisoka's philosophy, I believe, is when he's let loose on Zevil Island. Precisely because he's let loose, and precisely because it comes directly from his mouth, that it works. And now let's get into Killua and Gon, because these episodes were primarily about them. The animation for Killua's rhythm echo assassination technique is obviously leaps and bounds better and cooler in 2011 too. That just can't be helped. It's pretty lackluster in the 1999 version, but of course that can't be helped. Of course, animation a decade plus later is going to be better. Whoa, mind-blowing, surprising. It also lends some character development for Killua, because in 2011, Netro says he is astonished such a young child has already mastered that technique, and he makes sure to tell Gon that that technique is only for those engaged in underground work. Do not learn it. You don't need to. You shouldn't. Also, when Netro gets kicked in the shin, he says if he were an ordinary person, Killua would have shattered his leg. The animation for Gon is also much better in 2011. His speed and his movement as an enhancer too. You really just do not get the same kinetic energy in 1999, and witnessing the rhythm echo in the first place really isn't that crazy either, because by this time, everybody and their brother on this ship already knows about Killua. We're already told about Killua's training, all of that. And so let's get into that here. This in-between section of the arc on the ship is where we get our first revelations, our first reveals for more information on Killua and his family. The first real intimate serious conversation Gon and Killua share together since their introduction in the tunnel. In both adaptations, Gon says is enamored by what he's looking down below outside the window. He says the lights of the city that they're flying over look like jewels. And in 1999, I do like how Killua's first question is asking Gon if he's ever even seen a night view like this before. Killua doesn't ask this in 2011, and I think it's a quick little question and answer that, while subtle, does an important job of reminding us how sheltered and how isolated Gon has been with his simple little life on Whale Island, and how out of the element he is on a flying machine above a city with lights compared to his hometown and being in nature and having the other environment he's only known his entire life. That I like in 1999 here. But then Gon asks the same to Killua, and Killua says his family owns private jets. They need them, since a whole mountain is their family property, and there are about 200 servants. And so Gon says, oh, your family must be super rich. What do they do for a living? I hate this dialogue from Killua. I'm sorry. It just does not sound like him at all. It sounds so out of place. It sounds like too much. Which is why, again, I have to assume this is not Togashi's writing either. I trust Togashi to know how to write a script, write dialogue, write characters, and their development. This is not Togashi. This is not from the manga. I don't even need to open the first page of the... I've not read a single panel of Hunter x Hunter, and I can just tell what is Togashi and what is not. I do not like this dialogue. Again, it's revealing too much too early, in my opinion, about his family's wealth and his status. Even before Killua even mentions the word assassin, why are we learning all of this? Why are we getting a Wikipedia biography about the ZOLDYCKS? There isn't as much mystique here with dialogue like this. And again, to me, it reveals too much unnecessary information too early. Because in 2011, there's a pause of silence here. And instead of Gon asking Killua what his parents do for a living, Gon is the one to ask Killua how he was wondering where his mom and dad were. Gon doesn't have parents besides Mito, and Mito reluctantly let him go. So Gon's first thought, I have this other kid my age right here. His first thought is wanting to know if Killua has parents, where they are, if he knows them, not what they do for a living, because the talk of private jets and money and servants doesn't exist in the 2011 version. Rightfully so. Killua, Killua just says they're alive, probably. Gon is then the one to ask, what did they do? Killua just bluntly says, they're assassins. 2011 entirely skips that whole other piece of conversation, which I like more because, as I said, the story maintains more mystique into Killua and his family. It doesn't tell you more than you need to know in the moment. Gon asks, both of them? And Killua laughs, calling him a riot, because Gon's the first to ever respond seriously. And Gon says, well, you are telling the truth, right, aren't you? And Killua's like, what makes you say that? Gon, just a hunch. And Killua's like, that's weird, because people only like me because they can't ever tell whether I'm serious. That's all you really need from this conversation. Killua then goes on to say, I'm from a family of assassins. They're all assassins. And my family has really high hopes for me. But I can't stand it. Who wants to have their life planned out for them? When I told them I wanted to decide my own future, they all snapped. My mother had tears streaming down her face, and she told me I have the potential to be a top assassin. Horrible parents, right? It's natural their kid would go bad. We ended up fighting, so I stabbed my mother in the face, my brother in the side, and ran away from home. I'm sure they're out for blood now, but if they find me, I'll send them packing. When I become a hunter, I'll start by capturing my family. I'm sure they're worth some hefty bounties. And I love the scene from 2011 where Killua starts like practically daydreaming, where saying this, like the whole screen turns white with clouds, looks like heaven. Killua's practically floating in the clouds. It's like a daydream fantasy for him, and then it goes back to reality. I love that. And again, that whole monologue from him, so simple. All you know is what you need to know. You don't, nothing extra. Perfect. In 1999, Killua says, everyone is a professional assassin in my family. They'll kill anyone they're paid to kill. Seems like they see a great potential in me. So I've undergone special training to kill since I was a little kid. But I don't want to live my life the way someone else has laid out for me. When I told them I'll decide what to do with my life, myself, my parents and my brothers freaked out. My mother tearfully lectured about how much potential I have as an assassin. Aren't they awful? Most kids would go astray. We wound up fighting. I nearly killed my mother and my brother and ran away. I bet they're frantically searching for me now. Well, if they show up, I'll just beat them up. When I become a hunter, I'll catch everyone in my family. I bet I can trade them for a good price. And Gon calls Killua amazing, saying how he never even considered surpassing his father like Killua. And Killua says he never thought about the fact capturing his dad would have to mean surpassing him. I do kind of like this little addition here. Gon's never had a father. He just wants to meet his dad, let alone bother to ever think of surpassing him, while Killua probably hasn't seriously thought about the consequences or the repercussions or the realities to come with his disobedience if he ever really does want to abandon his family like that. So again, in 2011, Killua never talks about killing in this conversation. He doesn't mention how they're paid to kill whoever they get paid to kill. The conversation is only about Killua himself and the angst and the stress and the emotions he's obviously bottling inside. Killua also keeps it more vague concerning his family in 2011, only saying when he told them, they all flipped. In 1999, Killua flat out says his parents and his brothers. You learn very soon, right here, Killua has multiple brothers. I think that should have stayed a mystery for longer. His family members. We only learn that he has at least one brother by this time in 2011 because he says he stabbed his mother in the face and stabbed his brother in the side, which is also way more brutal and graphic. I like that detail added. I doubt that is in the manga, because all Killua says in 1999 is that he nearly killed them, not specifically stabbed his mother in the face, for example, which makes you go, holy shit, who is this kid? That's why I like it. Because again, the mystery and the intrigue. Killua also goes into detail about how he's undergone special training to kill since he was a little kid. Again, in 2011, I think it's better that they left that out because of how mysterious it maintains Killua. More of not being Tagashi's writing, most likely. All you learn is that his family is all assassins, and he is too. Done. Simple. End of story. That's it. Drips and drops. You know and learn nothing about his training, how much he knows, or how much he is capable of. Because you don't need to know that. Because the whole point is that immediately after this conversation, Netro shows up, tricks them with his speed movement, and it's Killua who points out how fast he is. Boom, a little drip. And then, during the game, 2 minutes later, the very first move Killua uses is his Rhythm Echo. Boom, another drip. Now you're getting visual drips and drops of Killua's training and his capabilities. You're witnessing it with your eyes. Instead of being told about it, you're witnessing it. It's a surprise. Show, don't tell. This is a visual medium. And I just think that's much better writing and storyboarding and storytelling. And of course, in 2011, the entire game between Netro plays out in one contained episode. Whereas 1999, because of unnecessary subplots and filler characters and additional dialogue, it has to be cut into 2 separate episodes because they ran out of time yet again. These continue to be my main 2 issues about 1999, the 1999 adaptation so far, that I see 2011 really improved on. The pacing in 1999 has a lot of filler and fat around the edges, that even if it is being more faithful to the manga, even if these are scenes from the source material, I think in 2011, they understood what could be edited out and cut without losing the essence of the plot and the essence of the characters. If anything, adding by subtracting, because you're adding better animation and your character development is better. And that's my second issue, the character development for certain characters. I complained about it for Hisoka earlier, but primarily for Killua. It's odd to me. I described it during the Swamp episodes, and I went into it here. There's a lot of extra dialogue for Killua that really portrays Killua in a different direction and way than in 2011, as well as adds a lot of extra backstory and exposition to him that feels wholly unnecessary and dropping too much lore about him too early. Gon and Kurapika and Leorio are all pretty straightforward so far and identical across adaptations. Nothing really to point out that really catches my eye or concerns me. I mean, if anything, in this video, I liked how Gon was the one who volunteered to try the rice dish with the moss on top. The whole sushi and bear scenes were unnecessary and way too long for me. But that 20 or 30 second scene with Gon trying to dish, showing his openness, showing his curiosity, as well as knowing it wouldn't harm him or make him sick because of his heightened senses, I can like that. But what does catch my eye and concern me is specifically how Killua's character is being written and portrayed so far. And am I the only one in that? Because I'm going to be curious if this is going to be a continuous thing throughout the first adaptation. Obviously, it's 1999, so I understand the pacing for most shows and most projects back then was slower. But the character development for Killua, and maybe possibly Kurapika down the line, once we get more into that Scarlet Eye stuff and more into Yorknu, if it will become more and more apparent how the writers learned their lesson from the first attempt in 1999, what to edit out, what to cut, what to omit, what to save for later. You really do not lose any thematic depth at all or lose any character nuance at all by removing what has been removed between adaptations or changed between these 2 adaptations. I do not feel like I've missed anything of value to the story so far with all these things not existing in the 2011 version I'm watching. Again, if anything, 1999 is doing too much. I know that could change. I'm only 11 episodes in right now. It feels like the writers currently, though, it feels like the writers don't know how to write Killua or adapt him from the manga at this time back then, 20 years ago. And that they're purposely trying to lean on Killua's character to be the more interesting and engaging and thought-provoking of the group. So they're dumping too much information on him too soon. Almost like they want Killua to be more important than Gon. I don't know why. I wouldn't be surprised if at this time in 1999, as the original series first went on and first aired, if you told me that Togashi himself and the people, whoever adapted and wrote the anime, ended up not being on the same page at all. Because that's the vibe I'm kind of getting. And we'll see if that carries on into the future episodes as well. I'm going to end the discussion here. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to my channel to stay in the loop on this community. Keep the conversation going down in the comments below. Having said all that, and with that said, so long, farewell, thank you, have a good one.